Mongoose Jake here with my long overdue comparison between the Nerf Retaliator and the Busby Tactical Storm. Now, I've compared these two offhand in videos of all kinds of different sorts over the years now that I have been doing YouTube videos, and ever since this blaster came on the market, it kind of took the Retaliator's place as my favorite top prime magazine fed Springer. And I am a Springer guy. Let's make no mistake about it. I do like flywheel blasters here and there, and I love some air powered blasters. But when it comes down to it, I like the mechanical action of a Springer. And I am somebody who is actually a top prime fan. Yes, pump grips are great. I love my Thermal Hunter Interceptor. I like the new Agitator quite a bit, and other blasters that are pump grip. I actually love the Nerf Rampage and others, but I still like the top prime. I don't know if it's something about that's where Springers kind of started, you know, all the way back with the Maverick, the true Recon. But ever since it came out, I like the Retaliator. I like the Recon Mark II especially. That's my preferred shell variant because it's the same mechanically as the Retaliator. Busby introduced this blaster to compete with the Retaliator, and it did so. Set the Retaliator aside for a second here, because it did so to compete with the Retaliator at a lower price point, and offering, of course, that trademark Busby performance that we've gotten used to over their past couple generations of blasters, which means it outperforms the Nerf Retaliator. It has a smoother acting slide and prime with more power to it. And overall, this generation here, which is now, in my way of looking at Busby history, they were inferior to Nerf for a while, but offered some really neat, sometimes gimmicky blasters with neat features. Gunsmoke comes to mind. I don't have one at this point, but I wish I did. But it's things like that. They were neat, but inferior in performance by a noticeable margin compared to their Nerf counterparts. The previous generation of blasters that had like the Champion and the Reaper, and then the Sentinel, the Brute, those completely changed Busby around into, they're not inferior, they are actually superior in performance. They had the better internals in stock form. Then came along of course, the Thermal Hunter, the Interceptor, and then the redone versions of what I consider to be the Champion and Reaper in with the Night Attack, and now you've got the Tactical Storm and the Adventure Force version, which is the Eradicator. These in stock form, which is my first category, the stock blasters. This thing is far superior to the Retaliator. It costs $15.99 retail price compared to $25 retail price. So 16 compared to 25. It hits 80 feet per second average compared to 70 feet per second average. Again, smoother prime. It has the barrel attachment, the stock attachment, just like the barrel attachment and stock attachment on the Retaliator. Both their stocks are too short to really be usable, so that's kind of a toss-up. It came with 2 magazines instead of 1, 20 darts instead of 12. So double the mags and more darts compared to the Retaliator. Retaliator did come with a front grip that you can't use with a top slide type blaster. You always are going to keep your non-firing hand on the top prime. So you're not going to walk around holding the Retaliator grip anyways. You're going to pull it off and use it on something else, which is nice, but is it worth almost double the price? No, I think everybody would have rather had a second magazine with the Retaliator. But in stock form, the Tactical Storm is just better. It's higher performance, lower price, more accessories. Because I'd say more usable accessories. And that makes it the better blaster in stock form. You can almost buy 2 of them for the price of 1 Retaliator. And there is no argument on that, personally, from my point of view. In the home custom style modifications, it's also superior to the Retaliator. I'm talking about the old-fashioned modifications when you're tinkering at home. This thing, you take it apart just like we used to with the old Recons, the old Mavericks, you knock out the air restrictor, you put in a spring spacer if you want to go back to the true old school, put in some pennies. Spring's too big, but those of you who've been around will get the joke. You put in a heavier spring, knock out the air restrictor, you drill out the breech and put in a brass tube in there to get it just right, get that air seal just right. And all of a sudden, this thing, you pull out the locks, this thing is hitting, 130, 140, 150 feet per second out of a 7 kilogram build. It is capable of that because I know I've done a number of them that if you do brass it, you can see that 150 foot per second mark out of a 7 kilogram or 8 kilogram spring. 9 kilogram, definitely going to see that. And here's the thing, the catch mechanism is up to the task without having to be upgraded. Because the Busby catch is just simply better than Nerf's. It's a better design. It's a sturdier, more long-term durable design. So in the homegrown type custom work, just the person tinkering away with the materials they got, hunting down the right spring, which, by the way, these take Retaliator springs. Basically, all Busby mag-fed blasters that are spring-powered take Retaliator springs. Just a bit of useful information there for you. And yeah, NF Strike sells those things for under $3 a piece. And that's what I use. Or Orange Mod works, 8 kilogram spring works really good as well. Just for your use out there. And then throw in some K&S brass. You got yourself a good blaster with just a little bit of workbench time for cheap. Talking about 10, 15 bucks worth of parts, if that. And just an afternoon of tinkering away and you can have something really useful. That's something that you can't say about the Retaliator. But the one thing the Retaliator has over the Tactical Storm, or any Busby blaster for that matter, is the aftermarket. Oh, good grief, the aftermarket. If it's a Retaliator or a Strife, anybody anywhere who sells Nerf hobby parts has you covered. Springs, breeches, catches, catch springs, triggers, trigger springs, stocks, barrel attachments, pump grip kits, bolt sleds. You have full long dart kits. You have full short Stefan kits. You've got magazine adapters to go to Stefan darts. You've got everything you could imagine available for this thing. You have whole kits to turn this thing into almost looking like a Barrett style sniper rifle. You have AK, M14 kits. You have all the things you could possibly imagine to dress this thing up however you want, look-wise, and to get a lot more oomph out of this thing to fling foam just that much harder. All comes down to price. Those aftermarket parts are always going to be costly. It's not the workbench tinkerer trying to get by on a little budget with the Busby blasters, trying to get as much as he can for as little price as possible. The aftermarket advantage only comes to those who want to tinker with pre-made parts and are willing to drop the money for them. I have done that. I've got my Sonic Ice Retaliator up here that has full metal internals. I've got a one part I haven't installed yet is a expanded plunger tube, and that's the one last piece to that because I went with the bolt action style worker attachments. I wasn't going to do a pump grip on that, but that's the kind of thing you can do with that. It's got full metal internals on. I even spent almost $40 or $50 for my alloy bolt sled on that thing, which is more than I have tied up into my entire primary that I normally run in my Busby Interceptor. And the sad thing is, the Interceptor shoots almost as hard. Yeah, I have as much money into my bolt sled as I have my whole primary for similar performance. Oh well. But that's the thing. I can build this massive custom blaster that I've spent about 175-ish, somewhere in there. Yeah. It was a splurge. But that's the kind of thing you can do with it. And you can't do that with Busby. So you can look at that as an advantage, and I do. Because for those of you who want to pick up a blaster and buy pre-made parts that you know are just drop-in fit, you can do that with the Retaliator or the Recon Mark II. or a lot of Nerf blasters for that matter, such as the Strife as well. The Busby blasters, you don't have that option. The aftermarket's just not there yet. It should be. And if I have anything to do with it, it will be eventually. Because I know I'm not the only big Busby fan out there. But this is my comparison with the three main categories of a stock blaster that's better, the home tinkerer choice, this is better, or the aftermarket support for the Retaliator is a big advantage in its corner of the ring. But overall, that's still, out of the two out of three categories, would still make this the superior blaster overall. And it comes down to what you're looking for. Better stock, easier to tinker with on the cheap to get high performance for less money, or those of you who do want to go and buy all the aftermarket parts and slap it in there and throw on different stocks, different barrel attachments, different pump grip kits, all of that, well, the Retaliator is highly catered to in that department. So that is, without slamming the Retaliator, that's why I do prefer the Tactical Storm overall. This is Monkish Jake with my comparison of the two blasters out here that I kind of look at as the workhorse of the category of top priming springers that are mag fed, and that is why I do prefer the Tactical Storm over the Retaliator. Well, this is Monkish Jake saying I hope you enjoyed this little comparison, and that's to lay it to rest why I do love Busby overall and this workhorse blaster that you can get for 16 bucks, known as the Tactical Storm, or through Walmart as the Eradicator under the Adventure Force brand. But again, Monkish Jake, and I hope you enjoyed watching this, and I thank you for being here all the way to the end.